Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Sports Talk, I guess we would call it. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Don't forget that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And always remember, if you want to send um, an email, any questions or topics, djksports7259 at gmail.com. Today we're going to talk, going to go to the next division in the AL, the AL Central. We're also going to talk a little bit about wrestling and Elimination Chamber coming up. You don't have to stick by if you don't like that, but I enjoy wrestling and talking about that. How's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing well. Where I live, we got slammed by a blizzard over the snow already. Thought it was crazy. Like a lot of the snow melted from the last one finally, and then boom, we just get hammered. And I think it was way worse than I thought it was going to be, but that's all right. Inside, chilling, so we good. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. So I'm gonna start with the Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians, formerly known as the Indians. Oh, you can't say that. They're usually pretty good every year, even though they're not a big market team. Hey, Josie, what's up? And I would say they're usually built around pitching. But at catcher, they got Bo Naylor. He's a pretty good catcher. Manzaro's got some power. See if he'll take the next step and hit a little bit more for average. They got Riccio at second, and then Jose Ramirez, who's one of the best players in baseball, at third base. They just gave him another extension, which is really cool to see. You know, that all these players don't go to the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and they actually stay with some of their teams. I think that's really cool. People would look down on that like, but he'll never win, but whatever. Ramirez is a beast. Then they got Arias at short, Kwan, who's a Gold Glover in left field, Martinez in center, Nolan Jones, and then David Fry will probably switch between DH and right field. The rotation is pretty good. They got Tanner Bybee, Gavin Williams, Slade Sione, Logan Allen, and Parker Misick. They did lose their closer, Clase. He's probably done for gambling. He was one of the best in the game. They went down the stretch without him, so they still played all right, but it is a big loss. But they're pretty good. They have Gaddis and Keith Smith, so they won't miss him too much. But that is a big loss for a small market team like that. Hopefully they get some of that money back. But they always play well for not spending too much. Ramirez is an absolute superstar, one of the best in the game. Great player, great for fantasy if you like fantasy because he does a little bit of everything. They got Stephen Kwan, who there was talk that they would trade him, but they held on to him. And he's a Gold Glover, hits well in the clutch. Still could be on the move because, you never know who they're going to keep and who they're going to trade because of the market. Their starters are good. Williams took a huge step in the second half. Last year, I read that he changed a little bit up, mixed stuff up, and he did really good down the stretch. So they probably won't win the division, but they could be in there for a wild card because I feel it's a little top-heavy in there, and we're going to get to that team next. The next team is the Detroit Tigers, who I think is the favorite to win this division. They absolutely went bananas last year, and then they kind of slowed down towards the end, but they still made the playoffs. Obviously, they're built around their pitching staff, which they improved this year. They obviously have the reigning Cy Young Award winner, Tarek Skubal, who deserved these great. I'm glad they didn't trade him. Thought that was a right move, but they have him. They brought in Framber Valdez. They have Jack Flaherty, Casey Mize, and Verlander. They bring Verlander back home. I think that was a sneaky good signing. Jansen is the closer, and then Finnegan in the eighth. Catcher is Dillinger. They got Torkelson at first, Torres at second. Javi Baez will play some center field and some shortstop. They move him around a lot. Got Cole Keith at third. You got Riley Green in left. Burling and Meadows, Carpenter at DH. So I think their lineup's okay. Obviously, favorite in the division. I thought it was smart not to trade Skubal. I know that he might walk, whatever. You give him the qualifying offer and you get a pick because it's a win now. Like you have a number one starter. You see what you have to do. And that's just my opinion. I'm not the end all be all, but I think that was the right move. And I know like Met fans wanted him. I didn't really want him because I feel like you would have to give up. Like, I don't care what anybody said. Like, you would have to give up McLean. I mean, and I'm not doing that when also you could sign him the next year. So I think Detroit did the right thing, keeping him go for it. And you can tell they're going for it because they brought in Verlander, they brought in Jansen, they brought in Framber Valdez. I think they have one of the best pitching staffs in the league because Framber comes from Houston where he was their ace, and now he slides in there. He's number 2, and you got Verlander as your 5th, who in the second half in San Francisco, he pitched great. And I think it was a really good signing. He's an innings eater. He's not what he was, 10 years ago, but for in his early 40s, he's going to be pretty good. Casey Mize, former first overall pick, he had a pretty good season last year. So he's like the 4th starter. And their closer, I mean, Kelly Jansen they brought in, who's very consistent. He's older. He has some issues, like he can't pitch in Colorado because of the altitude. And I think the Angels gave him a lot of breaks last year. He's not as overpowering as he used to be, but he's consistent. And then they brought back Finnegan, who was a great trade, who pitched great for them after coming over from the Nationals. They re-signed him. He'll be in the 8th inning, so that's a pretty good bullpen. And then they have other pieces in there too. I do feel, though, they probably need one more hitter. I mean, Riley Green stepped up. Is he a superstar? I don't know if he's there yet, but he's really, really good. Baez played better last year, but he's just not the same player that he was in the Cubs. So glad the Mets didn't sign him. Torkelson's a former top pick. He has some power, but he's not the superstar they thought he was going to be. And they have some other pieces here and there. They need Cole Keith to step up and stuff like that. But Carpenter is really streaky, but they're definitely the favorite. And that pitching staff, if healthy, is great. And then you got Finnegan and then Jansen in the 8th and 9th. And I think that's perfect. So, excuse me one moment. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next team now. And we got Central's not the biggest division. Not too much. Like, I think the Tigers, they probably spend the most. But then you go to Kansas City, who's has been really good. They made it to back-to-back World Series in 15 and 16 and won one. That was a long time ago, but they're still pretty competitive. And they got Sal Perez at catcher, Vinny Pasquino at first. Second is India. Bobby Witt, their best player, is at short. Miguel Garcia at third. You got Collins, Isabel, and Jack Caglione in the outfield with Jensen. I think Jensen and they might rotate the DH a lot. Sal Perez, probably a lot of DH too. They got Carter Jensen, who could be the backup catcher. Starting rotation, they got Reagans, who has ace-like stuff. That was a great steal. The trade they made, I think it was with Texas, right? I think, if my brain. They got Lugo, they got Waka, they got Bubik, and they got Cameron, who stepped up last year. Young rookie, pitched really well when they had some injuries. Seth Lugo, he was on the Mets for so many years, and they used him out of the bullpen, and then he goes to Kansas City, and they use him as a starter, and it works. Go figure. And he always asked to start with the Mets, and they just were saying, oh, you're too valuable in the pen, whatever. But he would have been more valuable as a starter, especially at that time. Just go out and get a bullpen person, but whatever. And then they got Estevez and Eric in the 9th and 8th innings. So they definitely, excuse me, their team on paper is really, really good. Obviously, they have Perez, who could hit 30 plus. Bobby Witt Jr. is a superstar. But the key is they need Jack Caglione, who was one of their top picks. They brought him up. He was mashing in the minors, and then he was actually really bad. Unlike some other players like Nick Kurtz of the A's, he came up and he just took off. That was insane. I hadn't seen that much. But obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. is a superstar. He did have a little down season from 2 years ago, but still put up great numbers. I feel they have one of the best pitching staffs in the league into the bullpen too, like the starters, like Reagan's, who was hurt last year, but he's a ace and has ace-like stuff. Seth Lugo, I mean, he throws a lot of innings, good solid number two. I feel like I think I had him on my fantasy team last year or 2 years ago. He was always throwing eight innings. And Cameron, like I said, rookie, took a big step. They traded Jonathan India for Bubik, and that worked out. But they definitely need Caglione to step up. That would be huge because they definitely need one more hitter. The bullpen's very good. Estevez very consistent closer throughout his career, whether it was here or the Angels. But one question is, when will Salvador Perez hit a wall? Because he is getting old, but he does DH. They do a really good job giving him rest and DH days and stuff like that. More DH than rest. I think he plays almost every game, but you never know for these guys when will they hit the wall. I probably think they could fight for second. I mean, listen, they could fight for first. You never know what can happen if Caglione takes off and their pitching staff is healthy and Detroit has injuries. You never know, but I would say they would finish second and behind Tigers, but they're still definitely in it for a wild card. We'll see what happens with that. The next team is the Minnesota Twins. The Twins pretty much gutted their team. They should have gutted it even more last year, but Pablo Lopez was hurt at the trade deadline, so they couldn't trade him. And then he goes out and he needs Tommy John surgery. So he's out for the year. That's a monster loss for them in multiple ways. He's their ace, and they could have traded him at the deadline, and so that's rough. But they have Jeffers at catcher, Bell, Keishel, Royce Lewis, Brooks Lee, Martin, Buxton, Waller, and Larch at DH. They got Joe Ryan, Aubert, Taj Bradley, Zebby Matthews, and Micah Bell. Closer will probably be by committee because they traded Duran to the Phillies. They traded Jax to – where's Jax? Oh, he went to Tampa. That's right. Tampa traded for him. So, yeah, the Tigers are definitely, I believe, the favorite. We'll see. You never know. That's the thing, like whether it's football, basketball, baseball. Basketball maybe not because they do more like, they all team up and stuff like that. But you kind of know. Sometimes you never know. Like who knew the Chiefs would go only win 6 games and have all those injuries and stuff like that. And then the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. So, and obviously the Dodgers are the favorite to win it all. They're back-to-back champions, but the Tigers have a good team. But back to the Twins. They're definitely rebuilding. They should probably trade even more people. I heard Buxton doesn't want to go. He had his first healthy season, and he put up great numbers. He's a great player, has superstar potential. He just always gets hurt. But they should consider it. They should, like, when people do these reloads or retooling, they call it, I say you just blow it all up and start from scratch. So they traded a bunch of players, especially the closer, but they still have, and then Lopez is hurt. They still have Joe Ryan. I don't see him lasting past the trade deadline. He's a good starter, not a number one, probably a 3, max 2. His ERA is usually more towards 4, but he's a good pitcher. Aubert is one of their young players who took a step back after having a breakout 2 years ago, but I think I read that he was basically pitching with an injury. And then they have Zebby Matthews, who one of their top prospects. And then the 2 keys is they made those trades is they got Micah Bell and from the Phillies and Bradley from Tampa, who 2 years ago, Bradley was striking out people left and right. And then before he got traded from Tampa, he was doing okay, but he wasn't striking out as many. So I don't know if he needs to develop another pitch or whatnot. But yeah, those are 2 huge keys for them because obviously they're high prospects with good arms and they could be in the rotation. Like I said, the closer would be by a committee. Someone will step up, I'm sure, but they traded their top 2 right there. They should have traded Ryan already, but maybe they didn't get what they felt was right for him. And they'll probably finish last or second to last would be my guess. But the Twins do always show up and play. And like I said, it's such a dice roll, but that would be my guess is that they'd probably finish second because obviously the White Sox are in this division and they're one of the worst. And that's the next team we're getting to right now. And they did a complete rebuild. They got rid of everybody. They finally got rid of the last piece, trading Luis Roberts to the Mets, which I thought was a great move by them. And I don't think it was a great move by the Mets. People will destroy me for that, but I mean, he's hurt all the time. He makes $20 million a year. And the Mets didn't give up too much. They did give up Acuna and a pitcher. But the one thing with Acuna is he's fast and he can play defense. So at worst, he's like a great bench player. But I think if they give him, let's see if they give him a chance to start every day. So their team is they got Kyle Teal, a catcher. That was the big piece in the Garrett Crochet trade with the Red Sox. They got Murakami from Japan. I say they start Acuna, but they might start Chase Meredith. I don't know at second. You got Vargas at third, Costa Montgomery, their big time power bat at short. At Andrew Benintendi, they're like one big free agent who's kind of been disappointing. He was a big prospect with the Red Sox. And then you got Baldwin in center, Hayes in right, Chiaro at DH. Then they're pitching, which isn't that good. They got Fetty, Eric Fetty, Davis Martin, Anthony Kay, Sean Burke, Shane Smith. Sir Anthony Dominguez is their closer. They traded for Jordan Hicks. He will probably be their eighth inning guy. I don't think they're going to use him as a starter. So obviously, huge rebuilding there. They do have some veterans. They brought in Anthony Kay, who was a prospect, a big prospect with the Mets. I think they traded him to the Blue Jays in the Stroman deal. I don't know if he went to Japan or Korea, but he pitched really well there. So he came back to the majors this year. Smith, I think, was their lone all-star last year. He played really well. I think they got him off the waivers, but obviously total rebuild. See how the young players do. What will they get out of Murakami? This guy who was a power hitter in Japan, but with the Japanese hitters, you never know. Because no one knew Ohtani would be Ohtani. Hideki Matsui came over, and they used to call him Godzilla, like he was the best. And he was good with the Yankees, but he wasn't, Hideki Arabu, who was a big-time pitcher and came over, and he didn't really do that well with the Yankees and stuff. And then Montgomery, who's their big-time prospect, he came up. He made the team. They sent him back down, and he came up, and he did really well with a lot of power. Will he take the next step and be the superstar and carry this team that they hope he will be? We will see. They also need Teal to step up the catcher that they got the Red Sox deal for Crochet. Him and Montgomery are like the two big pieces. I mean, Murakami too, but I don't think they signed him super long. I don't know if it was a 2 or 3 year deal, but it's not like they signed him like 8 years. So we'll see. And also the Acuna trade. I mean, I don't know. When I look online, it's still spring training. I don't know if they have him starting, but I think he is a huge piece, and I would like to see him play every day. The Mets gave him a little bit of run in the beginning of the year. And I also read that he tweaked his stance and he did a little bit better in winter ball. But you never know with that, but he did change it. But one thing I know is he would steal bases with the Mets, so he has speed, and he plays great defense. So if he could just hit a little bit, maybe be like a 280 hitter, and maybe hit like 12 home runs to 15 home runs, steal like 30-plus bags. If he starts the whole season with the White Sox and they play him every day, he doesn't get hurt, he's going to steal over 30 bags. That's just my opinion. They don't really have much pitching. I don't know too much about their minor league system. I don't know if they have anybody big. I'm sure they have some guys coming, but I don't think they have like a Skeens coming, or the Pirates also have Bubba Chandler, who came up last year, and there's all these other prospects, the Reds with Chase Burns and stuff like that. So I don't know if they have anybody like that, but I'm sure they have some. So they'll have to work on that. They have some pieces too, like they signed Sir Anthony Dominguez to be their closer. He was on the Phillies. I remember he's an okay reliever, but I think he wasn't that great as closer. I think the Orioles used him as a closer towards the end of the year last year. I can't remember. And then Jordan Hicks, who's way better in the bullpen. I know the Giants tried him as a starter. Then they traded him to the Red Sox. and they kind of use him as both. But I think the bullpen is where he's best. We'll see what's up with that. And then they have some pieces like, well, Benintendi makes a lot of money, but he could be a piece that can move if he has a solid season. Obviously, Sir Anthony Dominguez and Jordan Hicks can be guys. Do they want to trade anybody else? I don't know. But they need the trade for Crochet to work out because he's an ace and he was still young. And I know you're rebuilding, but they could have built around him, which is crazy. But whatever. So they probably will finish in last. Like I said, it's either them or the Twins, but they probably are more likely to finish last than the Twins. But again, you never know if these young guys step up. Who knows what will happen? And but again, like I said, it's going to be the Tigers, I think. Then I think, man, the Guardians. I like the Royals, but the Guardians always surprise. So I'm just going to say for me, Tigers, Royals, Guardians, surprise you with the White Sox, and then the Twins finish in last because I think Buxton's going to get hurt, and they'll probably trade Joe Ryan and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens, though. All right, if anybody just came in, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Appreciate you all stopping by. And now we're going to transition to wrestling. So if people are not into wrestling, feel free to leave. But if you want to, we're going to talk about wrestling. Obviously, you got the Elimination Chamber coming up soon to find out who the other challenger is for the title, which it looks like. It's so weird. You already had Roman Reigns and Liv Morgan with the Rumble, and right away they were just like Roman Reigns, CM Punk. Like they didn't even think about it. It was just like bam. And then with Liv Morgan, she's not really telling. You think it's this. I still think it's going to be Stephanie Becerra. I don't think it's going to be Jade, but you never know. So right now in the men's elimination chamber, Randy Orton, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams have qualified. And then on Raw, they have the final spot, which is Jey Uso, Bronson Reed versus, I think, the original Grande Americana. Out of that, I think personally, I know a lot of people are going to say Jey. Jey was in it last year, and he's been the champ, and he's the tag champ. I think Bronson Reed's going to win out of those three, unless they're trying to push something. But my opinion is, since Jay's the tag champions and he already did it, and they're kind of lowering him down. And then I think Grande Americana, he's gonna do something with the other Grande Americana. So I think it's gonna be Bronson Reed. Yes, whoop that trick. They put Trick Williams and Javon Evans, two young guys in there. I know they at least put one, but they put two. A lot of these were easy though, like Cody, I knew they would have in there, and Randy and stuff. LA Knight's always a dice roll because like it looks like they're pushing them and then they screw them and whatever. And then they're going to put a young guy in there, but they put two. So that's interesting and fun. If they put Bronson Reed, that'll be three. So then, in my opinion, it would be Bronson Reed, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton. And they would be going up against Drew. So obviously Cody makes the most sense because of what's been going on with him and Drew. I don't know if I want to see that at WrestleMania personally. I'm kind of over the Cody thing, and they should have, after he lost the belt, they should have had him like kind of disappear a little bit, but they didn't. I think that's probably who's going to win. That's not who I want to win. I would want Randy Orton to win. Because I feel he deserves another title run. But I think from that, it'll probably be Cody because that kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, Randy versus McIntyre would kind of make sense. But to me, does Drew McIntyre and Bronson Reed make sense? No. Javon Evans, Trick Williams, LA Knight, I don't think so. So, but you never know. They did surprise with putting two youngs in there, two young kids in there. And then on the other side, they really surprised with the young Kiana James. I was really surprised by that. Like I said, I always feel they have to put a young new person in there, but I didn't think it was going to be her. So like with the men's results, you don't know, but my guess is Cody. We'll find out tonight, actually. And then in the women's, right now you have Rhea, Tiffany Stratton, Alexa, Asuka, and like I said, Kiana James, which I thought was really cool. I wonder if they just picked her, or I know a lot of people thought she did really well in the Rumble, so I don't know if this is her reward or whatnot. And then the final spot is Monday is between Raquel Rodriguez, Kyrie Zane, and Io Sky. I mean, I'm biased. Io's, I think, the most entertaining wrestler on the roster, male or female. So I want to see her in the Elimination Chamber. But she's tag champs with Rhea. That also doesn't matter. They could lose it before then, but that does change it. They could also do the angle, put Kyrie Zane in there, and then she could kind of protect Asuka. And then you have Raquel, who I don't think is going to win this qualifying match because I got that thing going on with Liv, and Liv eliminated her and costed her chance. So for her to lose and not even make the Elimination Chamber, I could see her losing in the qualifying match by Liv coming out to help and then messing up. I could see that, and that would help that feud that they're eventually going to build to. So all three of those, but obviously I would say Io, and then it would be Io, Rhea, Tiffy, Alexa, Kiana James, and Alexa. So, like, in my opinion, I think Liv is going to challenge Stephanie Vicaire. So who's going to challenge Jade? That's a tough one because, I mean, they could do the rematch of Jade and Tiffy. Tiffy did not get the rematch after she lost to Jade. She left for a bit. I don't know if they would do Asuka, like two heels. You got Kiana James. I don't see her winning at all, but hopefully she puts on a good performance. Alexa versus Jade. I like Alexa, but I don't think Bianca. Well, Bianca just had surgery, so I don't think she's going to be at Elimination Chamber, and who knows if she'll come back for WrestleMania, because it's actually around the corner. What are we at now? We're at February 23rd, so in 2 months, right? The end of April, somewhere in April, will be WrestleMania. But yes, Bianca is what I've been saying all along, but I don't know if she's going to be healthy, and obviously she's not going to be in this match because the Elimination Chamber is this Saturday. So it's not even like they could have her replaced. She just won't get healthy in time. But I would say out of them, the most sense would make sense would be Tiffany Stratton because she didn't get the rematch, or Rhea. But this is my thing. I feel they're really pushing Jade. I don't think they want to have Rhea lose because, in my opinion, I think Rhea Ripley is the most popular wrestler. Like, she gets the biggest pops. Like, she is by far like becoming one of the faces, if not the faces of the WWE. So, and they've had her lose. Like, you know, she lost to Io Sky, and she lost to, who else did she lose that other time? I forget. But yeah, so to put her up against Jade and have her lose, I think maybe the Tiffy rematch would make sense, but we'll see. You never know. We're going to find out tonight, and then you'll have SmackDown, and then you have Elimination Chamber, which I'm pretty excited for. It's a pretty cool pay-per-view. It's where they're all in there, and I think 2 start, and then 4 are locked in the chambers, and then a timer runs out, and you don't know which one's going to open, so that's cool. And it's always exciting. Last year was really good. I think that's where John Cena won. Forget who won for the women. I don't remember, but yeah, it's pretty cool wrestling. You know, it gets kind of predictable, but it's still fun at the end of the day. Me and my wife watch it, spend time, and we enjoy it. And it's cool to see new faces, and not that, well, I mean, we got Roman Reigns, but I'm getting sick of that way. Like, they got to kind of take Roman Reigns and like CM Punk and kind of push them out and do more like the LA Knights who deserve it, and Javon Evans is crazy. He's like really young, but he's fun to watch. I don't say he's going to get a push like that, but I also feel the women are the best in the entire thing. Like, it's not even close. Like, when you watch these pay-per-views and say there's just like one woman match and it's the first one, it's all downhill from there, in my opinion. So Yeah, Penta too. I would love to see Penta get pushed. And if you watch Unreal, there's a lot of Penta fans. I know he got hurt, so that sent him back. He was in the Elimination Chamber thing, but he didn't make it. Um, but we'll see. We know in wrestling, you have to have someone in the back pushing for you. Uh, that's why some guys were held down, like LA Knight. There's probably no one pushing for him. Back in the day, no one was pushing for CM Punk except for Paul Heyman. So you always need someone there, and we'll see. But yeah, hopefully they start pushing more young guys. And but I'm looking forward to that. Not looking that forward to the baseball season, but definitely looking forward to the Elimination Chamber. I wish it was in Riyadh again, so it was at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I get spoiled by that. I love that when it's across and it's like, you can watch it all, and it's not. But this one I think starts at 7 Eastern time, which is a little bit better. I struggle to stay up sometimes nowadays. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got today. Like I said, if you guys want to send any questions, DJK Sports 725 9@gmail.com. I can answer your questions, also talk about topics. Just quick shout out for people. I don't know nothing about either of these, but Michael Jordan, his car won 2 races in a row, and that's awesome to see him do that. I mean, a huge Michael Jordan fan. Everybody loves Michael Jordan. Who doesn't? And then also congrats to the U.S. men and women, both dominated in hockey. Not dominated, but they won and did really well. And just want to give those shout outs. And I want to thank you guys for stopping by, hanging out. And yes, thanks for sharing. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. It's fun. I love talking sports. And everyone go out and have a great week.